Bethany Manctalo here. Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome back to 2025 of the 24-25 series of Millwall. No One Likes Us Talking. It's our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Gary Staff and Ted Robinson.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Well, welcome back after our seasonal break, and a happy new year to you and our listeners. Glad to be back, one and all?
Yeah.
Quite nice being on when it's cold outside as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
So that's a big bonus. Well, let's go into it's been interesting times with people coming and going. Well, it was a topsy-turvy, tumultuous game up at Sheffield Wednesday. Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
Let's be honest, it wasn't the best watch, was it? I feel their goal led a very charmed life. And knowing I have some Sheffield Wednesday supporters, they weren't very happy with the point, certainly, but I know we were. That first 60 minutes or so, we were, let's just say, not at our best this weekend, but we hung in there. I saw at half-time Alex Neil storm down the tunnel. I don't know what was said in the dressing room, but we came out a lot stronger, looked more hungry, and I know people said that George Saville slipped for the free kick, but he slipped after he'd connected with the ball. So I don't think that had much to do with the trajectory of where it's going. I just think their defenders missed it completely, and it landed at Mr. Honeyman's feet, who slotted it away very nicely. And then one player I'm absolutely delighted for, Brian Whittle, popped one in the onion bag as well from about 18 yards. So I'm well happy with him, and I hope we can try and do a deal with him in the upcoming transfer window, if not the summer. But unfortunately, we committed that cardinal sin of switching off just after the goal, and they equalised. But all in all, a good point, I think, up at Wednesday.
Well, yeah, I think I could agree with you on that. It didn't look like it was going that way, but it ended that way. Ted, Reece Bangura Williams, a forward, who's jumped into a contract yesterday that I think is quite pleasing for the club. What's your thought?
He's been around for a little while now, but he's impressive. He's got something about him. He's maybe a step behind SA. I think he's a year older. He's a similar talent, I think, personally. I think we could have another a little gem on our hands there. He's got something about him. I see him score a cracking goal at Cray Wanderers at the pre-season game, and he's the sort of player that comes on and you feel is going to make a difference to you. Or Femi Eze gets the ball, or Romain Esse gets the ball. You feel like something might happen. And Bangura Williams is a similar type of player. We've certainly shown it in the under-21s, and he's been in part of the first team squad for the last couple of weeks as well. This enables him to be training with the first team, as I understand it now, and being part of the first team setup. And instead of being in the under-21s and watching, he's in part of the first team now, and we'll just drop and play in the under-21s when required. So I think it's all good for him. Maybe he might benefit from going out on loan. I don't know, but I think it's a good signing, Eamon. I think we may have got another little gem on our hands.
Yeah, let's have more little gems as they keep coming along. I think the academy is proving its worth for certain. Great stuff. Gary, Neil Harris did not settle in for the season as we perhaps thought at the beginning of it. Was it good to hold on to him for a few games when he declared he was leaving?
Probably might upset a few people. Personally, I don't think so. I feel it dragged things on, started a bad run, upset the apple cart a little bit. I know things were on a downward spiral, but I think he should have done the honourable thing and just said, no, I'm going to go at this point, or don't announce it. One of the two. if you're going to hang on for another 2 weeks, don't announce it. Just say you're going to go after the whatever game it was. But I think it was a bad thing. I think it affected the team. I think it affected the fans. Yes, it gave Harris a chance to say goodbye, but I personally think it was a bad thing. I also think maybe bringing Livermore in to do the interim was a good idea because it meant he got to know the players a little bit more before Alex Neil come in.
Ted, it's nice to share a show with you once again.
And with you, Eamonn.
Thank you. Alex Neil has arrived with his number 2, Martin Canning. They will be getting to grips with the first team squad and also checking out the younger players. Are you pleased by their appointment, and what do you think they will bring to our first team squad?
What I will say is when I was listening to who was coming up as the candidates for it, out of the ones that got into the last 3, Alex Neil, to me, always stood out as the correct one for Millwall, in a sense that there was a lot of chat about the guy at Wickham Bloomfield, who has no experience whatsoever in the Championship, which I believe is not essential, but it's good to have, unless you bring a team up from the League One and then you have your go in the Championship and do well from there. But if you're bringing a manager in while you're in the Championship, I think it's better off having a manager that's got Championship experience, and not only that, has got good Championship experience and has got clubs promoted and got clubs similar to ourselves doing well in this league. So to me, it looked at, he ticked all the Millwall boxes, Eamonn. And what I mean by that is we always go for a manager that has got a little something to prove. The weird thing about it, the last one we got like that was Gary Rowett, who actually would have been sacked from Stoke as well as Alex Neil's last. Strangely enough, but Alex Neil has got something to prove to the footballing world, which I love, because that means that he's the determination. And by the nature of the fact that he's Scottish, most Scottish managers that we've had anyway have been pretty successful at Millwall and pretty determined characters, and he seems to come across like that. So out the candidates, the 3 candidates, because I think the other one was it Schumacher?
Schumacher he was, yeah.
Yeah, but Alex Neil by far ticked more boxes for me than the other guys. So yeah, I was pleased. And I might be a bit of a strange person, but I'm quite excited by his appointment because I don't think we've got a bad squad when they're all fit.
That's right.
I mean, and the nature of the last month or so, we've been struggling with some key members missing to this team.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of key members, and in that I mean the likes of Coburn, I mean the likes of Cooper. People that you don't, certainly with Cooper, you don't realise what a big influence he is. I mean, when him and Tanganga got together, all of a sudden we had the Cooper back that was playing really well when Sean Hutchinson was at his height of his playing ability.
Yeah.
So whether Coops needs someone like that alongside him playing as well as Tanganga's been playing, because it seems to bring the better out of him. So, I mean, it's been a strange month, I would say, in lots of different things changing. Thankfully, there's a few people on their way back off the table, which will give Alex Neil even more selection, not problems, but,
challenges
that he'll be looking at on the thing.
Yeah.
What I will say quickly, I was interested in the other night, the under-21s played with a back 3.
That's right.
Now, I don't believe that Kevin Nugent decided to do that. I think Alex Neil decided to do that. Now, I've been one, as you know, Eamonn, I've always said there should be a plan B. And if that is to go from a back 4 to a back 3, then I'm all for it.
I think the points that you made around about our man Alex Neil coming in is spot on. But there are so many variables in the players that we've got. And with that, I'm going to say, let's take a break. And what we'll do is listen to Jess Tuffield from our sponsors, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned marque. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 81 3562. G&M Motors have been dear friends with the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Gary Staff and Ted Robinson. Many thanks to our sponsor, G&M Motors. Why not check out the Hondas down in their site at Gravesend and see what else they have on offer. Our first guest of the evening is a star of Millwall TV and has been preeminent on our extensive coverage provided by Sky this season. He never crashed the press box facilities at Carrow Road this season either, but is still considered the most significant risk to the facility on their risk register. As always, we must praise him for his well-known sharing of his experience with epilepsy to raise awareness and understanding of the condition that he has suffered too. Let's say Happy New Year and welcome to Karl Bates.
And Happy New Year to you guys too. How are you?
That's wonderful, wonderful.
Good evening, Karl.
Happy New Year. Evening, Karl.
Gents?
Yeah. Well, at least they're all talking to you, so that's a bonus.
That's true. It's a good start.
It's a good start. Yeah. It's interesting times when I consider at the beginning of the season, we were all looking forward to a season full of a certain coach. But anyway, Karl, the season has brought unanticipated change with Neil Harris's departure and the eventual arrival of Alex Neil as head coach. From a commentator's position, how would you sum up the period from Oxford United away until Oxford United at home?
I think one of the major things that stands out is that Millwall are always in games. I mean, they've never been taken apart, in between the two. And to be fair, that's not just in December. That's the whole season. I think it's something that Neil pointed out in his tenure, that Millwall have never lost by more than 1 goal.
Yep.
And I think that shows the character within the team. Doesn't matter who they're up against, whether that be top, middle or bottom of the table, they are competitive. They work hard for Neil, and I'm sure they will for Alex in the future. The only thing it also does highlight is sadly that we don't score enough goals. You look at those results in between the 2 Oxford games, and there's a lot of 1-0s either way.
Yeah.
I mean, Duncan Watmore's still our top scorer in the league with 5, and he hasn't scored since the game away at QPR back in September. We've played 19 league games since there, and he's still the top scorer with 5. And so I think the main thing for Alex, and I'm sure that's something he'll be looking to address straight away, is to find that balance between not conceding many and staying in games, but creating chances at the other end of the pitch. Because defensively, that's something Millwall have quite rightly been proud of, is how good they are at the back. It's going forward that is, well, their Achilles heel at the moment. And I think December sort of showed that with the low scoring games and narrow victories either way.
It was very clear that was the issue.
Hi, Karl. It's Gary here anyway. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Good to speak to you again, Karl. When you joined us at the beginning of the season, we discussed the demanding Sky schedule, which requires you to travel at unusual times to provide Millwall commentary. How have you found these challenges this season?
It's very hard, and I'm not going to lie, it is getting harder. I mean, this isn't my full-time job, so I'm constantly juggling my day job around and booking time off here, there and everywhere. I mean, thankfully, I manage my own department, so I just run it by the boss, which is myself, and he's all right with it. However, I do get the knock-on effect as it, eats time into my family, time spent with my family. It's, you're looking at kickoff times with these 12:30 kickoffs. It's not so bad when you're at home, but it obviously is them for the away side, like Hull City, for example, a 12:30 kickoff. And it will only get worse unless, I think the best way to stop the lunacy of these kickoff times is for fans to vote with their feet and not attend. Because, being at the game's the ultimate experience for me, and I'm sure it is for yourselves. It's far better than watching it on television. Yeah. So to have these kickoff times where fans are setting off at silly o'clock to attend games is, it's just criminal. We're letting the TV, we're almost encouraging people to stay inside and watch it on the television than being at a game. But I think we all know if you watch a game, like, for example, let's look at COVID as an extreme version. We watched football. There was nobody in the ground. Didn't seem like football to me. So if you keep pushing and we get less and less people attending due to circumstance, then you're breaking the back, you're making it more problematic than it needs to be.
Well, I've got one more question for you, Karl. Speaking with you and hearing your distinctive voice, stats and humour is always great, and I do always listen to you on a Saturday afternoon if I'm not at the games. You have a new co-commentator this season with the arrival of former Millwall goalkeeper who has played in the top flight for us, and on match days, the usual host from the executive lounge at the Den. That is Mr. Horn himself, Brian. Does Brian enjoy the Bovril as well? And how are you enjoying the diversity he brings to the match commentary?
Yeah, Horny's great. He's a really friendly, likeable guy. You can tell how much he loves the club. It comes through very clearly on his commentary. Sometimes I have to sort of wind him back in a bit as he gets carried away and turns into a fan. So it's not offside. It's not offside. It's like, just I'm having to almost reel him back. Sit down. But
you do surprise me, Karl. You do surprise me about that one. He's not like that at all, Brian, is he?
No. Very quiet. Very quiet.
Sometimes I think he's got one foot on the pitch.
Yeah, but no, he comes up from the exec. The good thing is he comes up from, like you said, doing the sort of exec stuff behind the scenes, normally with food, which is always handy. Occasionally drinkers.
That's notable, actually, the food. Good God.
Now I'm even more surprised.
I don't know if he likes Bovril, though, because we don't have it in the press room, which is terrible and scandalous, and I have wrote to my local MP about that, but I haven't heard anything back yet. I mean, in regards to the difference between Brian and Max, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's great to work with on comms. We hit it off first time. We work well together. Yeah. And, I think the partnership's sort of blossomed, really. God, I sound like I'm describing Gregory and Morrison. But with Horny, it's nice sometimes just to get an opinion from somebody who's played at that top level, just to get an insight of what's going on in players' minds, what it's like to be in that situation. Because we can only guess. He genuinely knows. And so I always find it nice if I've got him there when I've had Tony Craig in the past, people like that. It's always nice just to try and find what's it like as a player to be in that position. So, yeah it's really handy to have.
Great.
Good evening, Karl. It's Ted here, mate.
What a Ted.
How you doing, mate? You all right? It's good to speak to you once again, I must admit, mate. But listen, me and you have something in common because I heard your disappointment when Idemo Amaku went off injured after getting back into the starting lineup. Have you been surprised by the lack of playing time for some of our youngsters? And do you see them being utilised more under Alex Neil? Because I must admit, one of Neil Harris's mistakes, in my opinion, was underplaying Idemo. I know he had a an injury, but he just looks the business to me every time he plays for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Idemo, it's not easy. I mean, I must admit, I'm not surprised, to be honest, in how he's been, I don't know if protected's the right word, but only recently he's brought consistency to his game, in my opinion. You know, in the past he'd come on, sometimes he'd be a real threat to the opposition straight away, and you think, wow, why isn't he starting? He is going to do X, Y, and Z. And then sometimes he'd struggle a bit to get into the game, or he'd give away a silly foul or lose possession quickly. But as you rightly say, Ted, I mean, recently he has been creative. He's a nuisance. He's very, very fast, isn't he? And so he doesn't overcomplicate things. You know, he's got his mate Remain the other side who'll be twisting and turning, doing this, that, and the other. Idemo will just line up the defender, knock it past him, and outrun him. And, you know, sometimes people try and overcomplicate things, but I think now he's learned that pace is his major attribute, and he tries to use it at every opportunity. So, yeah, I think he'll play more often now because he has got that consistency to him. And I think from what I can gather from Alex, he's going to look to be more attacking down the flanks. You know, he wants to get more players forward. And when you've got somebody like that, he'll also come in handy towards the end of a game. I still think sometimes in matches he'll be used as an impact sub because he's your perfect nightmare. With 20 minutes to go, Millwall are ahead and they've got him on the counter.
Well, I think he's the only one that we've got, Karl, that is direct. As you quite rightly say, he stands as full back up and then just goes past him. He knocks it past him. And his pace is what always frightens defences. But I agree with you, summing it up of him, to be quite honest. I've never really thought he's done enough when he started from the word go to guarantee everything. But he's certainly a threat. I just think what I was getting at really is that Neil Harris never seemed to bring him on, or if he did, it was only for minutes. And I think with a kid like him, he's definitely at least worth half an hour at the back end of a game if it's going right for you.
And yeah, as you said, he is probably the only player in our side that has out-and-out pace. There's no other player I can't think of in our team.
No.
I mean, once Lenny gets going, he's quite hard to catch. But as in, from almost a standing start, Idemo is the only person that will leave the majority of defenders behind him, while the others, they're okay, but you wouldn't fancy most of them in a 50-50.
No, you're right. You've got SA and Aziz, they're both tricky players, aren't they? Their feet would get round a player, not their pace. No. Whereas Idemo, he just got great hopes for him in the future, provided he stay fit. That's the big concern with him at the moment. But and hopefully Alex Neil will see that and perhaps use him a bit better when he's hopefully fit again, which I believe is much.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the younger players. If you think about their body still growing physically anyway, and if we think about how Idamo's played at a high level coming through the youth, etc., he'll played so many games already. It's one of those things. I'm sure Neil held him back to an extent, as you say. I don't think Neil wanted him as a starter for his side, more of an impact sub. That you've just got to be careful with those type of players. You don't want to overuse them. The easiest example in the world, I suppose, was Michael Owen when he burst onto the scene, but because he was played so often and he was the main man and everything went through him and played the ball behind constantly, and then he always had problems with his hamstrings and his career was shortened because of it.
Yeah.
So, you just got to be careful with those sort of things. But
that's a bit like me.
We'll see.
That was like you, Ted. I remember.
Like me now getting the games, by the time I get out of the pub, my hamstring's a bit tight.
Yeah, so's your wallet, apparently.
You're right. You've heard that story as well.
Who's spreading these rumours? I don't know.
No, to be fair, I mean, I was actually going to make it as a professional footballer, but unfortunately, ginsters and ability got in the way. So, disappointed.
Karl, it's me again. In the transfer window, the media has highlighted Remain and Jaffet as possible leavers. What do you think of all the media hype surrounding these potential departures? And then the second question towards that, what replacements do you feel could come in to help fill those positions?
I think the media around the potential departures is just one of those things that I think we see all the time, that it's the transfer window, so speculation's rife and you'll hear endless stories here, there and everywhere, but there's probably only 2 or 3 stories that have genuinely got anything to them. They're frustrating to hear. Obviously, when it's your team, you're desperate to hear the other way, or Millwall are going to be bringing in X, Y, and Z. But I think the other way, a lot of it you have to take with a pinch of salt. But when you've got two top quality players like that, what do you expect, if you know what I mean? The people are going to be sniffing. Unfortunately, every single game shown on television, every single thing's on various social media outlets. It's going to be noted. And Crystal Palace obviously have, in regards to Remain, and are knocking at the door. So, was the other part, did you ask, sorry, what other areas did we?
Yeah, what areas could we be strengthening? I know we've obviously been linked with the Aston Villa forward over the last 24 hours, but where else, if Eze does go, how else, where do you feel the money could be used?
I think centre-halves wouldn't go amiss. I think Muzza and Hutch especially, they've been great servants to the club and can definitely do a job short-term, like Muzza's come in, last few games, etc., hasn't let anybody down. He's done a job, but he's not going to be able, or Hutch, they aren't going to be able to perform at the highest level week in, week out for 10, 20 games on the spin. So I think a new centre-half to back up Jaff and Coops, I don't think couldn't go amiss. I think that would be a real benefit. And also, I think an out-and-out number 10, because I think whoever plays there has been on a hiding to nothing at the moment, and they seem to be easy targets when things aren't going well.
Yeah.
I think the lack of goals for the club goes far deeper than just one player, in the fact that at the moment, as an attacking unit, we struggle. However, that one position is so pivotal for every club. I mean, Millwall haven't replaced Zian, in my opinion, for that role. If he was still in that number 10 position, playing in behind somebody, I think Millwall would have scored a lot more goals, and he'd draw even more out of Esse and Aziz, because instead of them having to sometimes sort of come for the ball, come and collect, he'd be the one playing it in behind. He'd be the one giving them that extra option, and I think would be a more viable threat. So, and I'm sure that's something Alex will be looking into, is that type of player to link things up, because so often we see, whether that be Langstaff or Mihailovic or Coburn or Bradshaw, whoever that may be, we see so often them 20, 30 yards from everybody else, just chasing percentage balls.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a really important part of the puzzle.
And on that part, I'll pass you over to Ted.
But what I was going to say, looking ahead to the rest of the season, mate, and based on what we know, what's your thoughts on who's likely to fill the promotion spots, the playoff positions, and be in a relegation battle?
I was having a look at the league a day or two ago. I think Leeds, sadly, will go up this time round, as they've got a good enough squad.
I think they're the best I've seen, Karl, this year.
They've got squad depth, haven't they? They've got, we like to admit it or not, they've got a big fan base. They travel well. So, every game on the road, they're well supported, and that can make a big difference when it comes to the last couple of games, getting yourself over the line. So I think they'll go up as champions. I think Sunderland actually will go in behind them. I think Sheffield United will just fall short of the top two. I just think, again, Sunderland, it's a big club, and they may well have a little bit of nous in the transfer market. They've got a bit of a draw there. I think they'll bring in a couple of good players in the next few days. Playoff wise, I think it'll pretty much be as it is. I think the top six are going to stay as they are. I'd fancy Sheffield United in the playoffs out of the four. West Brom, again, depends on what happens with the new manager. Burnley, I don't think have got enough depth. I think they're doing okay. And who else we got in there? I think Middlesbrough are around there as well. But out of them, I'd say that would be my pick. At the other end, Rowett, the Rowett effect's coming at Oxford. I think they'll kick on and they'll be fine. I think Luton will be okay. I mean, they obviously lost their manager today, but, a new manager at the helm, they're good enough. I think they will be okay. Plymouth, I don't think will have enough to get out of trouble, in all honesty, and I think that's the same for Hull. I don't think they've got enough following pull. As to go to Plymouth, to bring players in, you need either a lot of money or a catchment area. And I don't think Plymouth's either. It's so far away from everywhere. Every away game is a real trek for them. And I think that takes it out on the players and the fans. I hope we see the back of Cardiff, as I don't like going there. I think I've mentioned that many a time. Won the travel time, and they're just awful hosts. They don't look after you. They're just not a very nice bunch. So hopefully the Bluebirds can fly down to League One.
Great.
I think the problem with the relegation side of it, though, Karl, is I look at all them sides and the ones you've mentioned. There was the other ones down at Portsmouth and Hull, but they've all had their moments. Yeah. There doesn't seem, I mean, with the exception of Plymouth, and I was probably one of the only ones that was really gutted to see Wayne Rooney go, because I thought if he stayed, they would definitely go down. I actually had a tear in my eye when I heard he was leaving. But apart from them, at this moment in time, I would look at all the others and say they have a chance of getting out of it. You know, I agree with you with Luton. I mean, I don't really understand what's happened to them, because I thought they was a better side than that in actual fact. It didn't happen. We're going to be playing them soon, so they changed the manager. That's,
of course. We
get the managerial bounce, didn't we? Like Gary Rowett. But yeah,
but even when you look at the league, if you look at the league table, though, as you rightly say, Plymouth are still only 3 points off safety.
They're not out of it.
A goal difference, but they're close.
They're close. It's so close down there. I mean, that's why the next few games for us are so important, because I think we need to pick up a win. Certainly out of the whole game, and we need 1 or 2 wins to get ourselves going again. So we are looking up rather than down, if you know what I mean. I don't think we've got any chance of playoffs now, but hopefully we'll be looking that way, up rather than down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And with Hull and Cardiff next to the horizon in their third and second bottom, you want to make sure they stay there. You know, it's not a 6-pointer, far from it, but you lose both of them and you're starting to think differently.
Yeah, so, and talking about changes of managers and that, what's your perspective on it, Karl? I mean, I always think this day and age, managers, I'm not sure that they always get a fair crack of the whip sometimes. They seem to be in and out. It's a short period of time for most managers, but then there's always the Neil Harris situation, in my opinion, where it was just a disagreement in how it should be run between a manager and a chairman. So there's always them sort of things that are going on. But what do you think about it with modern day football and the way managers, the managerial roundabout seems to occur very often in our seasons?
Yeah, I think it's down, in all honesty, to the likes of social media. There's 24/7 sports channels, and they've put pay, I think, to patience and rational thinking. I mean, if, for example, let's say you're a manager, your team loses a game on Saturday, you've got chat shows, podcasts, Twitter, Instagram, Sky Sports, TalkSport, all talking non-stop about that defeat. And people that dial into these shows are filtered, so you only get the true lunatic that gets through, stating the manager's got to go, the team are going to be driven off a cliff. You've only lost 1 game. By the time you play again the next Saturday, the owner of the club's probably heard about 258,000 times how terrible everything is. And so it sounds like you're on an awful run of form. All the fans are outraged. You should be sacked. You lost 1 game, 2-1. Something along those lines. But because you hear about it, it becomes, oh my God, it's a crisis. I mean, the perfect example was this morning. I turned on the radio. I was on my way to work, and they had someone on there, and they were talking about the Liverpool manager, Arne Slot, and they said, I think there's signs of him beginning to crack under pressure after his post-match reaction, and how his great starting at Liverpool's beginning to waver after defeat. I thought, well, they're top of the league, Champions League. They've still got a chance in the Cup, and yet someone was claiming that, there's signs after that Man United game and Spurs, maybe they've been found out. I was like, good God. So, this is a team that are doing so well, but you just got to have one, just turns the tap. And of course, the person on the radio is like, oh, well, any other Liverpool fans agree with this, that, and the other? You could see after that United game, they were lucky to get a draw. And it's like, good, jeez. So imagine if you're a team that's doing okay, the pressure becomes intense so fast, all because 24/7 people are pressing buttons on media or phone chats or whatever.
Well, here's one for you, Karl. What about if we had a managerial window like a transfer window?
I know one thing. If I was a manager, I'd go on holiday and turn my phone off.
Right. Well, I just think to myself, I think managers, the stress that they're under from the word go is ridiculous, really. But don't get me wrong, they all get paid handsomely for it and whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think for the running of football clubs and for the sanity of fans, it may be a better way of doing it. Saying you can have this manager for the first part of the month, then come January, if you want to get rid of him, you can. And then you've got someone for the second part.
You're stuck with him.
It was the Wayne Rooney thing that came into my head. I thought he should be there to the end of the season.
I don't personally like transfer windows. I think it inflates prices and makes average players suddenly half tidy. And also it takes away the fun. I remember when, I'm going to prove I'm old now. I remember the day when I'd be like walking home from school or something like that, and suddenly you'd hear a rumour, oh, so-and-so's going to buy so-and-so. Are they? What, really? How did you find out? And, it'd almost be rumours to an extent, or you'd be waiting for the news to come on or something, because they'd come totally out of the blue. But now, as of January the 1st till the end of the window, that's it. No more.
I'm like you, Karl. I always remember, and I can remember where I was and everything, when we had the two Russians, the rumour about the two Russians coming to us.
Exactly.
He was mentioned with Arsenal and all that, and all of a sudden he was coming to Millwall. And it come, as you say, totally out of the blue. So I'm like you, really. I would rather just let it flow in its own way.
So would I. Karl, look, we could go on and on about that subject in a complete single programme.
Very true.
The time is that I've got to say thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts about Millwall and broader football matters. As always, having you on the show has been an absolute pleasure, as you know. But before you leave us, you're going to have to listen to Ted a bit more, because it's his prediction league.
This was not in my contract.
Well, there you go.
You never start yawning, Karl.
Nonetheless, here he is to pose the questions. Now, pay attention.
Right. If you've heard this before, Karl, it's a prediction league, and unfortunately, we've got no championship games this week, but it's the FA Cup. And all these results throughout the season are going to be collated at the end, and I'm told there's a prize for whether it's the guests or whether it's the thing, whatever that will be.
It's from you, Ted. Come on, hurry up.
Oh, yeah.
It's that point you promised us.
Don't believe everything you read. That's what I would say. But anyway, this week it's the FA Cup, so I've gone a bit local with one that a side that's doing pretty well in League One at the moment, in quite a bit of form against a side in our division that are sort of up and down a bit. It's Orient at home to Derby. What do you think that's going to be, Karl?
I've got to admit, I do fancy Leyton Orient to pull off a shock. Unfortunately, as we all know, they came to the Den and played very well. I presume you guys have been to Brisbane Road. The fans are very close to the pitch there.
Yeah.
It's going to be under the lights. It's not an easy place to go, and I fancy Leyton Orient maybe an extra time, 2-1 or something. I think it'll be a good game. I think that'll actually be one I'm looking forward to watching.
They're in some form at the moment, Orient. They're playing really well, and I must admit, the reason I picked that one out is I do believe that is a real possibility of an upset there. The second one I've picked, which is another one I believe that really could go either way, although the Premier side that I picked here are pretty decent these days, but it's Norwich at home to Brighton. How do you see that?
I think it will depend on what team Brighton put out. We were talking earlier on, weren't we, about how seriously clubs take the FA Cup. If Brighton goes strong, I'd fancy them to win. But if they rest too many or try something a little bit different, they could easily come unstuck and Norwich could beat them. So, can I answer depending on what the team sheet says? Is that a legit
answer? 0 points.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, I'll go Brighton then. I'll take faith in their manager, giving the FA Cup respect. So Brighton to win that then.
What's the score, mate? What you reckon?
I've got to do it exact. 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, no, I've been a bit disappointed with Norwich this year, although they look really good against us. But they're not quite it. And finally, obviously, is the Millwall at home to Dagenham.
We'll go nice and simple. 3-0 Millwall.
I think you may be right with that one. Let's hope so.
Let's get some goals.
Yeah. I think Alex Neil needs a win, so hopefully he's going to...
Definitely. If Millwall lose that game, there's going to be a lot of questions.
Well, I was told today, Karl, that the draw is being made on Sunday after the Man United game, so it could well be that we are sitting there with a home draw against Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, all depending on when we beat Dagenham. And
and then we all know what's coming.
If we lost, So
the bigger the tie, the more chance we've got of losing. If we're somehow away to Isle of Wight reserves, then I will thrash them.
Yeah. Karl, we look forward to talking with you again at the season's end. I always enjoy these chats. What was to be, what wasn't to be. We'll see you at the end of the season. Enjoy your bottle with Max McLennan and perhaps develop Brian Holmes' taste for it. I'm sure he'd be delighted with it, Karl. But for now, we'll take our leave and say bye, and we look forward to hearing your wonderful voice on the radio when we're not at the games. Take care, mate.
Yeah, take care of yourselves.
Cheers, Karl.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was great. Always entertaining, good fun. Karl Bates, what can I say? You can't beat him. Hi, Ellie. Lovely to see you here up in Harvey's Den again. And, of course, you've taken over from the Brown family. Cafe that they have here is just wonderful. Millwall shirts on the chairs, blue and white tablecloths, blue chairs, and all you guys in Millwall kit.
Of course.
Tell me, what goes on? When are you here? What can we expect?
We're here Monday to Friday from 10:30 till 5 every day, open to the public. Everyone's welcome. We're open every match day from 11:30 till 2:30. We've got a new family, a new little CAF team, and the girls up here are all lovely and friendly.
So who are the girls that are up here?
We've got myself, Ellie, of course, and then we've got Nicole, who works during the week. We've got Michelle, who also works during the week. She's lovely. And Lena, who works on a match day. And my mum, Ellen, who's very well known.
Very well known.
She also helps out in here from time to time. So we've got a lovely little family team.
To look after the community. Exactly. Wonderful stuff. So what's on offer at the cafe these days?
We've got everything from chicken burgers to paninis to full breakfasts, tea, coffee, hot chocolate, soft drinks, snacks, everything you could need.
So it's all here, all available, a great team to serve it up to you. Well, what else can I say but carry on in Harvey style here at Harvey's Den Cafe, and all the best to you, Ellie, and your team, and I look forward to coming up and enjoying some of the fare in not the far distant future. Well, in fact, I've already done that. The coffee is just superb. Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks, Eamon.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Gary Staff and Ted Robinson. On Monday, as we heard, through to Friday and Saturday match days, get on down and say hello to the team at Harvey's Den Cafe. Located in Bellina Road on the first floor of the Millwall Community Trust building. That's called the Lions Centre. Now, by the way, they're actually selling off the chairs that they got in there with Millwall shirts on it. They're open to offers. You can see on social media what the chairs look like and the shirts that are available on them. Check that out. It'll all go towards the Trust's benefit. Now, let's hear from Ellis Barr. It's actually Ellis's birthday yesterday, and I think we all should say happy birthday for the first of your teens. We hope you have had a great day. What do we reckon, lads?
Yeah, happy birthday, Ellie.
Yeah, that's well worth it. Let's hear from our Ellis.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Yeah, don't forget to keep us in the picture on your progress and development. Thanks as always, Ellis. Paul Loding brings us the Millwall Romans and Pride's first update of the year.
Hi, it's Paul Loding at the Millwall Romans with a quick update. Firstly, just want to wish everybody a happy new year and hope everyone had a really, really good Christmas. Not much to report on for this week for the Romans or Pride, both starting training again. Wednesday just gone. We're back at St Paul's, 7:30 in the evening. It's open training. If anyone does want to start a New Year's resolution and come down. In terms of the predictions this week, Millwall Dagenham on Monday night. I'm going to try and get to see that one myself. I live quite close to Dagenham, but obviously supporting Millwall. I think Millwall will. I actually went to Dagenham on Boxing Day to watch them, and they're not of a good standard at all, to be honest. I think Millwall are going to cruise through that, even with not necessarily the regulars going out. I'll say Millwall 5-0 on that one. Leyton Orient Derby, I think Orient will take that one. I'm going to say Orient 2-0. And Norwich Brighton, I actually think Norwich might nick that. I'm going to say Norwich 1-0 on that one.
Well, there you go. There's some interesting predictions there. 5-0. Well, that would be a repeat of something from the past, actually. Moving on from the Romans and Pride, not much to chat about in games positions, but Miles reported on the Millwall Lionesses for Maritime this Sunday, and we'll hear from Ted Jones, their manager, later on in the show. This Monday evening, we host a National League Dagenham and Redbridge in the third round of the FA Cup. Previously, the Daggers had travelled to league opposition in the form of Wimbledon and Crewe, who they defeated both in 90 minutes. Back in 2012, in the third round, the Daggers held us to a goalless draw at the Den. Is that an omen? The replay at their ground saw us defeat them by 5-0. That sounds like what Paul Loding's got himself locked in there. At the moment, they've sold over 1,200 tickets with more available. They have also brought in Crystal Palace under-21 player. He's a defender, Chris Francis, on loan. He'll be busy, I think. They sit in 15th place in the National League. The odds for Millwall to win are, well, expectedly 2-9 on. A draw is 4-1. And a win for the Daggers is, 9-1. Over to you, Ted.
Well, it is the FA Cup, Eamonn. You never know. You never know.
That's right.
How do we see these games going in making your score prediction? Remember, you cannot predict the same score as each other or me. What are your predictions, Eamonn and Gary? Mine are Millwall win 3-0. Leyton Orient will beat Derby 2-1. And I think Brighton will beat Norwich 2-1. So how do you see them going, Eamonn?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say Bethany, who couldn't join us this evening, sent me her predictions. She's looking at Millwall going 4-0 over Dagenham. She's got Orient game against Derby as 1-1. And she said the Norwich-Brighton one, she actually believes Norwich will defeat Brighton 1-0.
Well, there you go. What about yourself, Gary?
Right, I'm going to go. I think we're going to win 6-0 against Dagenham on Monday night. And then Leyton Orient v Derby. Yeah. I think the O's are going to beat Derby 2-0. And like Ted's alluded to, I don't think Norwich are in good form at the moment. So I'm going to go with Brighton winning that one 3-1.
I'm going to go for a 5-1 result. Us defeating Dagenham. For the Orient game against Derby, Orient will come through that with a 1-0 win. Norwich-Brighton, 2-0 to Brighton over Norwich.
Okay, well done then, Eamonn.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens from there.
Let's be hopeful, as they say. Anyway, we also have predictions from your friend Nick With from the Millwall Sicily site, Ted.
Hi guys, my forecast for the FA Cup games are Millwall 4, Dagenham 0, Leyton Orient 1, Derby 0, and Norwich 0, Brighton 1. Thanks.
Nick keeps reminding us that Ted must be prepared now to go to New Caledonia for Mansies. Apparently they've opened up a shop there. They're spreading around the world. Or there's more eels in those places than there are around the shores of Britain. What do you reckon, Ted?
Well, seeing they're shutting the Mansies at Deptford this month, I will have to find somewhere. And he's given me all the options around the world, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, New Caledonia is a nice spot, I can tell you.
I mean, maybe if he goes to New Mexico, I might try that one.
I'll ask him.
I'll ask him to keep, spreading the Mansies around the world and let me know where they are. And we'll pick one at the end of the season.
I'll say to him, is there one in Amarillo? Because Ted would be quite happy to go there. That'd be the answer, wouldn't it?
Well, perhaps somewhere like Newbury, that's a bit near. That might be a bit more a choice, or Newmarket. I don't mind me racing.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll see. Thanks for that, and thanks to Dave Hart, who collates the results. Well, that always is as hilarious as it can be, with the added handicap of not being able to make the exact prediction as each other. Anyway, we'll take a break there and hear about the Lions Food Hub from that man, Harvey Brown.
Hi, Harvey Brown here. I am proud of the Lions Food Hub, which is jointly owned by Kelly and Ellen Webster, and they have been supporting families within our community for over 2 years on Millwall match days. If you would like to donate to them, they have a match day donation hub by the SE16 bar at Colblow Lane, end of the ground, where they accept any food or money and toiletry donations. If you can help, any donations will be received with thanks.
Well, I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Gary Staff and Ted Robinson. Your donations will make a significant difference to those in need if you support the Lions Food Hub. And over Christmas, they've done some amazing stuff. Our second guest and Millwall Lionesses staff have made a significant changes to improve team performance. Our guest is a man who continues to lead the ever-increasingly positive responses of our Lionesses, despite not replacing his trainers, which have holes in them. Yes, let's welcome Ted Jones. Happy New Year, Ted.
Happy New Year. How are you getting on?
We're good.
Evening. All had a good Christmas?
Lovely.
Yeah, Christmas was bearable.
Very much so.
Yeah, bearable. Yeah, I think so. In all those senses,
it was well needed. A little break.
Well, it is. It can become quite tiring with all those dark mornings and dark nights. I know.
I say no. I've been back in work this week and been out in the freezing cold. It's not been great. Hope the summer comes around soon enough.
At least you're bracing out there and getting the benefit of what you consumed over Christmas.
Yeah.
Sid, great to have you on the show. What is it about these trainers and your playing staff wishing to highlight it?
Well, it's been a bit of an ongoing joke, but I've got a pair of work trainers, and yeah, if I am honest, they are a bit battered, and I probably do need to chuck them out. But we haven't lost since I've been wearing them the game, so
keep it going.
Yeah, but when it comes to certain things, I can be quite superstitious. So
yeah.
I think on the bench, I've had to say to the girls a few times they need to move, because I think if I find a seat that I like during a game, I'll have to keep sitting on that again, backing up from it. So yeah, I can be a little bit superstitious sometimes. So yeah, that's where the trainers come from.
Well, there you go. I can live with things like that. Ted does as well, you know. He's got a pair of pants that he's had for the last 20 years.
Yeah,
he wears on match days, don't you?
Exactly. I was just about to say, get the gaffer tape out, Ted, for the soles of your things. Anything. Keep them going. Keep them going.
Yeah, well, it it was raining a bit last week, and as soon as the rain came, our feet were soaked within a couple of minutes. So I'm hoping a little bit drier on Sunday.
Talking about last Sunday, which was an absolute cracking result in the London and South East Region League Cup, 10-1. What's that all about? Did you anticipate such a scoreline against Herne Bay women, who Eamonn was actually just telling me off air, are unbeaten and hardly conceded any goals? You must have been delighted with the overall performance.
Yeah, you know what? We were really happy. It's a game we wanted or thought expected to win, which is no disrespect to Herne Bay, but we thought we should be going into the game and winning it. And yeah, to be honest, we come in at half time 6-0 up, and we were just like, we want to push for double figures. I think the girls even said it after the game. It's usually the type of games which we make a little bit of a meal out of, and we make our lives a little bit harder. So the fact that we put on such a good performance was, really satisfying, really happy with. I think a lot of it comes down to over the Christmas we gave the girls a fitness program to follow, and wanted to make them run and keep them fit. As I said beforehand, this was like another little mini pre-season for us, and I think all the credit goes to the girls because they've worked hard. They've been doing all the runs. We've been tracking them, and I think they looked really sharp and really fit on Sunday, and I think that showed. So it's something we're putting into our training program at the moment. We're going to continue looking like for the rest of the season, and hopefully it will show in our performance. But no, we was outstanding. I thought Elise and Mia, both the wingers who started the game, contributed to 7 goals between them. So they were outstanding. The girls who come off the bench were brilliant. And it's just really good to see that things we've been working on in training are now coming out on the pitch. So yeah, definitely a really good way to start 2025 and hopefully push on in the cup. We want to go and win the cup, and I think we're fully confident in ourselves that it's something we can go and do and kick on the league now as well.
Really pleased, Ted. Really pleased.
So it's a quarter-finals next, Ted. Who do you hope to face in that fixture?
Well, we've had a look. The way the cup draw's done, we can work out who we're going to play already. So we'll be at home. It will be, as far as I'm aware, as long as things stay on schedule, I believe it'll be the 2nd of February, and it'll be either Leatherhead, Sutton United, who are in our league, or Dulwich Reserves. Unfortunately, Sutton and Dulwich Reserves, I think they've had their game postponed 4 times just because of weather, and then so we're waiting the winner of that tie, and then we'll play the winner of Leatherhead, Sutton or Dulwich. Oh yeah, that should be, as long as things stay all on track, 2nd of February, which will be at home.
Good stuff.
All right, Ted. Well, it's Ted here. that result's impressive, mate. I must admit, I'm great for all concerned down there. But since you become manager, Ted, of the Lionesses, you brought in some new faces. Can you tell us a bit about them?
First of all, we brought in Esme, who come from London City Lionesses. Esme came to the under-18s a couple of years ago, just she was sort of tried for a little bit, but we knew of her. She was a really good young player. She went to London City. She was their under-21s. We wanted to bring in a good young winger, and she's come in and she's been flying, really. She's worked hard. She's been brilliant. So she's been a really good addition. We've brought Anis and Victoria in. So Anis, a goalkeeper, Victoria, striker, both on loan, again on a dual signing from Crystal Palace Women. And, both, again, young players who have been really positive for us. I think Anis has done really well in goal. Victoria's only had a game coming in, but she's got goals under her belt. So again, another positive start. And Liv McGregor's come back again on a dual signing from Chatham, who was with us previously. So 3 or 4 positions we wanted to really strengthen, and girls that we sort of knew of and knew more about and are helping us push forward. So they've all been really, really good additions and have definitely bolstered the squad. So we're happy with where we are at the moment.
I said on Sunday, Ted, that it's a shame our first team can't play a bit like the Lionesses at the moment. That sort of performance. Have a word with Alex Neil, while he's starting up there. Talk to him about how it's done. But we know at the start of the season it did not go as well as it could for the Lionesses, but things have improved under the new arrangements, Ted. Can you tell listeners your expectations for the remainder of the season?
I think we had a meeting with the team just before Christmas. Coming off the break, this sort of second half of the season we're treating as if it is a completely new season. We've got about 10 I think about 10 games in the league and then hopefully 4 games if we get to the cup final, which is what we want. And ultimately, off that 10 games, we want to see how high we finish up in that little league table. So we've had a look at where we are since, Jack and I come in, and I think in the league table we'd be 3rd or 4th since we've joined. So that's sort of where we're pushing for to be at the moment. So to be sort of in that top 3, 4 out of these remaining games of the season and really push ourselves. We want to pick up as many points as possible, have our highest league finish since being in Tier 5. And it's something we're really pushing for. The girls are definitely behind it. They want to keep on picking up the wins and keep on pushing forward. So, yeah, I think ultimately win as many games as possible, push ourselves up the table. We'd love a cup run. I think that's really important to us at the moment. We feel on our day we can beat anybody in the league. So we feel the cup is a perfect opportunity to prove that. And ultimately, looking at the bigger picture, I think I said when I was on here before, we've got a sort of 3-year plan in place. So everything we do this season is building towards the future so that come the start of next season, we're in a really good position to hopefully kick on and really challenge for the title is where we want to be. Something we're really looking forward to. And I think the environment within the group is really good. I think people coming down and watching can see, it's a real good environment, real good culture, and that's all we can really ask for.
Well, it's not for me, Ted, to tell you how to pick your side, but you must keep picking Karl Watling because she's got to be the leading goal scorer at the end of the season, as I've drawn getting her shirt at the end of the season. So I want to be able to say I've got the leading goal scorer of the Lionesses for the 2005 season shirt. So how's Karl doing?
Doing really, really well. She's an experienced head. She's played really high level, next international, and in the middle of the pitch, there's been some moments this season. I think particularly when we went down to Bognor Regis, was 2-0 up, probably sort of dropped off for about 10, 15 minutes, and she was the one who really, when the going got tough, stood out and was a leader for us. So, yeah, Kira's been brilliant. I really value her opinion as well. I think we've had a few conversations about sessions and games and ideas. So, yeah, she's a really important player to us. But, yeah, she's contributing with a lot of goals and set pieces, are really good, a couple of penalties in there as well. And again, it's something we've been working on, playing in midfield. We want our midfielders getting into the box as much as possible and getting some of those goals, and she's reaping the benefits of that. So,
tell her from me, Ted, she's got to start playing like Tim Cahill used to, get in the box a bit more often and finish a few chances off.
Yeah, no, she's definitely getting the box and getting those goals. So hopefully she'll get us one on Sunday as well.
Brilliant.
So who is the current leading goal scorer, Ted?
I think it is Kira. I think she's got about...
feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's on about 9. Which I thought it's either 9 or 10 that she's on. I will have to double check, but she's definitely up there.
Yeah, she's there and thereabouts. So there you go, Ted. When you meet her, remember it's Kira and not Cara, won't you?
Oh, yeah, so I can't spell, that.
Yeah.
I can't read neither.
Or pronounce things, Stephen.
Kira.
Oh, yeah,
Kira.
There you go. Dear, Ted. Never mind.
I don't care, as long as she's leading goal scorer at the end of the season.
Well, what I've got to say is, upon hearing the tale of two Teds, it's our Ted's Prediction League. So, Ted, I'm going to hand you over again to Ted, who will take you through our prediction game.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, Ted, but I'm completely lost now. Who's saying what? But no, it's my prediction league. I have to ask you to predict 3 scores of the 3rd round of the FA Cup, Ted. These results will be collated at the end of the season, and when we know who our guests, hosts, panel, and regular reporters are, the best score predictors of the season. The 3 games I've picked, we start with the obvious one, Ted, and that's Millwall at home to Dagenham. What do you think the score of that will be?
Yeah, it's a game we wish could have been at, but we're training that night as well. So I think 4-0. As I said, I think Paul Loding's due a few goals. I think it'd be a good game for him to get a few, but I think hopefully be a nice win and hopefully get a big team in the next round.
That's what we all hope for, Ted, definitely.
Yeah.
The next one I think is a bit more difficult to predict, in my opinion. I picked out Leyton Orient at home to Derby County. Leyton Orient going pretty well in League One. So,
was that the game, the last round? Was it the keeper scored like a last-minute equaliser or had scored?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But they've been going really well in the league, Orient, lately.
No, I will go for a bit of upset. I'll go Orient to win 2-1.
Orient 2-1, right. And then this one's a difficult one as well, I'm afraid, Ted. I've gone for Norwich, and they're at home to Brighton and Hove Albion.
You know, I think Brighton. I'll go 3-0 Brighton. I think they've been playing well. I reckon they'll have a decent little run.
Yeah, as we said earlier, Ted, it does come down to the sides that the Premier League picks. If they pick their strong team, I think they will do it. But yeah, thanks for that, Ted. Anyway, and you could be lucky and win a prize. I don't know who's.
Yeah, sure.
I keep telling me it's coming from me. But
I mean, there's people that come on the show and say they give their scores, and then they want you to take them to Manzies in New York. So it's not just me, is it? Eh? What are you on about? Never mind. Lastly, it's Dorking Wanderers with perhaps that chairman, Callum Best, the son of the late, great, incredible goal scorer, George Best, who you host this Sunday at St Paul's Sports Ground, arrive at 1:30 p.m. Can you reap some revenge for that defeat to them earlier this season, Ted?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've gone back and watched the game. We definitely felt we should have got something out of the game. I thought the first half
it
was a little bit more clinical with our chances. We definitely should have been 1, potentially even 2 goals up. You know, Dorking are a really good side defensively. I think they've conceded less than a goal a game, so they're not an easy team to break down. But we're definitely, again, I think the mood of the camp, we do feel confident. You know, we feel we've watched them and we feel like there's some areas of the game which we can expose them in and get some success out of. But I think the main thing which we reiterated, girls, on Wednesday night was, you know, every time we've played a team this season in the reverse fixture, we've always improved at the start of the season. Before when Jack and I was there, we lost 3-1 to Barking, and then we had a great result. And then, against them, Ebbsfleet, the second time we played them, you know, coming back from 3 goals down to draw 3-3 was a great point. And Sutton, draw the first game was really unlucky to draw, but then to go away and beat them the following week and get a win was brilliant. So, we'd like to continue in that trend. Next time we play the teams, we've always improved. So, definitely go into the game full of confidence, and it's a real good test for us to see where we're at. I think Jack and I coming in, it was going to take a few weeks for us to get a few ideas in and work together with the team. But now I think we're in a really, really good position. I think having those couple of weeks off, as I said, there's been a little pre-season. It's got us a little bit fitter of where we wanted to be. And I think now we're in the best position possible to really test and play against the teams at the top of the table. So, definitely looking forward to it. It should be a really good game.
Brilliant stuff. And I must say, the performances have really shown change. Thank you for coming on the show, Ted. We look forward to talking with you again before the season ends, or even when it ends. And even Ted might even come up and see you when he goes and sees Kira to get his shirt. And all the best to you and the Lionesses in what remains of this season, and to your family too, Ted. Bye for now.
Cheers, thank you.
Take care, Ted. Thanks for coming on.
All the best, Ted. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, guys. Always a pleasure. Thanks for all the support.
You're welcome. Well, that was fantastic. He's really got a good old buzz about him, Ted Jones, and I do admire what he's done. As you heard earlier, Millwall Lionesses are back to league action as they host Dorking Wanderers at St Paul's Sports Ground, Rotherhithe, at 1:30 p.m. this Sunday. So why not get along and roar on our Lionesses as they look for another league win? Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games both home and away for the Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride, and also updates on Millwall community matters on Maritime Radio, as I said before, that broadcasts on 96.5 FM or from their website. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, and all popular podcast sites. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Eamonn. Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. I've got so many Teds. Thank you, Eamonn, and thanks, Gal. Been a pleasure.
It has.
And thank you all for listening. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night. Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.